pace of change is such because everyone can access everything and nothing is stopping startups. You don't have to build a factory. You don't need $30 million to do an advertising campaign. The pace of change is such that the disruptors are being disrupted. I'm not going to tell you a boring story about iTunes. Why would I do that? You already know about Napster. You already know about iTunes. Here's what you might not know. iTunes is in double-digit decline. RDO, Pandora, Spotify have sent iTunes off the scale. The new dominator, the disruptor, had less than 7 years at the helm. They had to scramble last year and launch iTunes Radio just to try and keep up, which is good news because if you haven't caught up on the internet revolution, you can get back in. Next revolution, next one, all right. So you can only ever be 15 minutes behind, and that's good for everyone. Now, the problem is that because the industrial era shaped us so much, even school, from the day one at school, the industrial era shaped our thinking. You know, when you go to school, do you know why cheating was outlawed in schools? And by the way, public free education has only been around about 150 years. It was a deal with the industrialists and the farmers and the peasants to educate kids to give them a better job. That was the deal. To teach the uneducated the 3 R's, writing, reading, arithmetic. And we decided that cheating should be outlawed, which I call collaboration, right? I just call it, we're just collaborating. This guy understands the maths, I don't understand it. Let's collaborate. That's what I always said. Mum, I told you I was right. The reason cheating was outlawed is because the job you were going to have post-school was in a factory. And if you didn't know what to do and how to turn that widget, the factory line would stop. True story. That's why we can't have cheating. And now we're in a collaborative economy. But the powers that be that own the old legacy companies cannot get this through their head that now the cost of failure is low. The cost of collaboration, if it's not there, is very high. To build a factory was expensive, so we needed centralized decision making because if we got it wrong, the price was high. But now, when we're just moving around ones and zeros, the price of failure is low. And that means we need to decentralize our decision-making in business if we want to succeed. And that's what startups do, which is different. So let's talk about startups. The Fortune 500, no such thing. It's the Fortune 250. Half of the companies on the Fortune 500 have dropped off the list in the last 10 years and been replaced by technology companies. And the reason isn't resources, because the old legacy companies, the Procter & Gamble's and the GM's and the Ford's, they've got every resource they could possibly want. It's not a question of resources, it's a question of strategy and attitude.